Welcome to the Real Dad Fitness Podcast, episode 16. My name is PT.
And my name is Jonathan. Glad you can all join us this evening.
Welcome, Jonathan, and welcome one and all. So here we are again. It's Real Dad Fitness. Let me ask you something. Let me just get right into it because I got something on my mind today. So I'm not like, I wouldn't call myself in shape yet, but I'm slowly working towards being an in shape person. And something was on my mind today. I was thinking about how like the people who are like the worst, like most judgmental towards like smokers would be like ex-smokers. Like people who are like the worst and most judgmental towards like alcohol drinking or like former or like alcoholics, recovering alcoholics. So I want to talk about how can I not be a dick to people who are not fit once I become fully fit. Because, I've, as an unfit person, I've felt many of the stings and arrows of you can basically hear the fit people thinking, like, why don't you just get in shape? Dude, just do it. It's not that hard. I don't want to be like, I want to be in shape, but I don't want to be like an awful human being either. So so my question to you is, how do you maintain your, because when you're really into something, you kind of are like, why isn't everyone into this thing? So it's a fine line because fitness is important, but also not being a terrible person that people who aren't fit is important as well.
Right. No, it's a good point because the other problem with fitness, like if you're like a great guitar player, you love to work on cars or whatever, you can tell that to people, and some people are just like, oh, whatever. I don't like to play guitar. I don't like to fix cars or whatever. But when you're really into fitness, it's one of those like kind of taboo things because you're basically putting anybody down that's not fit. You know what I mean? Because like automatically, everybody has a level of fitness.
Right.
So it's not like people are just like, oh, I don't do that. They can't just be like, oh, I don't. It's pretty rare that people are like, oh, I don't care at all about my health or fitness level at all. That doesn't even hit my radar. And then so you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know. And plus, like, there's the other like tricky parts of your thing is, especially as a guy, you're proud of things you build. Like, be it if you build a house or a communications network or a whatever it is that you're going to build. If you build a new guitar, you want to show it off and be like, look what I made. I made this. Well, your body is a work in progress. Like, especially when you do things that you've never done before, you're proud of. You knock out your first half marathon. I guarantee every party you go to for the next like couple months after your first half marathon or marathon, you're gonna be like, hey, you know what I did? I ran a half marathon. I ran a marathon. Whatever. You're gonna. But the problem is anybody that's in the room that's like, boy, I should really get in better shape, automatically takes this a little bit of a diss. So I guess only bring it up when people ask about it, maybe.
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to do it. If somebody's like, wow, you look great, you can say, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Or right. I do look great.
Yeah, that's right. I look fantastic. Here's why.
No, it doesn't look great? You.
No, that would be the wrong way, but okay. I still like it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess even beyond that, like even if you don't say anything, I want to guard my thoughts. I don't want to be like judgmental in my mind. Maybe that's just.
I'm not judgmental towards anyone in my mind. I don't think. And like, I have tons of friends that are in varying levels of fitness and shape and things like that. I don't judge them one way or the other. If they ask me like, hey, what do you, give me a tip or something like that, or what do you like to do to stay fit? I'll talk about it until they're bored. But I certainly don't think like, you lazy people, why don't you get out there and be more fit? I mean,
right.
Shit, I know why not. Life's tough. It's super fast paced. I mean,
right. Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll just try not to worry about it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. No. I was gonna say I think it's because you're not a dick now, so I don't think you'll be a dick when you become in really good shape.
But it's funny because I do think that I'm a dick sometimes. Like I had this one time at work. This was a while ago, but it's probably a couple years ago where I was teaching this class and stressed out, and this lady came in and she was like, "Yeah, I really need you to do XYZ right now. It's super important. And I just like turned, in my mind at least, I turned and I just like totally screamed at her. I was like, I can't handle this. I can't handle anything else right now. You need to leave this class, whatever. And I felt super bad about it, like for days and days. And like the next week, like after thinking about it all weekend, I went to her on Monday and I was like, look, I just gotta apologize for what happened the other day or whatever. And she was like, what? She literally had zero idea what I was talking about.
Right. So right there kind of proves my point that you're not a dick, because if you were a dick, you would have been, instead of being like, oh my God, I spent all weekend fretting about it because I lost it for a second because I was all stressed out, you'd be like, yeah, this stupid idiot came in my class and I was obviously all busy. But if that was your attitude, then yeah, you'd be a dick. But no, if you're like actually like concerned for other people's thoughts and feelings, then no, you don't count. You're not a dick.
All right. Well, tell me if I become a dick.
I will. I'll be the first.
That's sweet.
I'm kind of a dick like that.
Awesome. All right. So how's your week been, sir?
Good week, bad fitness week for me. I've been, I think a couple things. One, you always talk about how willpower is a limited resource.
Right.
And I've been focusing all my willpower into work lately. I've been working essentially constantly. I've done my best. Like I did go like this Saturday. I took the family for a big old hike, and that was really fun. So that was some great passive exercise and family time. So I was really happy about that. But I made a point of doing it, and also not taking any work phone calls while I was on the hike at least. And
Right.
but I think I've been using so much of my energy and focus on work lately that I've had a hard time, when I finally get to that point of because like I've been kicking off work early in the morning, like 5:45 or 5:30. I'll start work, start working, sending text, emails, blah blah blah, setting up stuff for that day or the week, and then pretty much goes until after the kids are in bed. And even then, a lot of times I'll work until I'm finally like, oh crap, it's 10:30. I gotta, get to bed, so I get up early and do it again or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but good, had a lot of success in work, but it's certainly
Nice.
like drained me from my normal focus on fitness.
Yeah, that's totally understandable, especially because you work in like any sales related job. Like with my job, like I have deadlines and stuff like that. But there's a lot of times where I'm like, well, if I don't feel like doing this particular aspect of my job right now, I can do it tomorrow and focus on a different aspect today or whatever like that. But when you're in a sales position and you essentially have a customer that you have to deal with right now to
Right,
make
and
it happen or whatever.
Yeah, all my contracts and things have actual like deadlines. 6
Right.
p.m. tonight. I had a contract that either needed to be accepted or expired, and you can't be like, well, I'll deal with it tomorrow morning. And that's that.
Right.
And
Yeah. So that's understandable. But if this is going to be your long-term thing, what are you got to think of a long-term way to mitigate that, I guess, right?
it is, and actually, it's made me think too. Like, so obviously, like most people, I want, to succeed both financially and in all aspects of life, and
Sure.
I hope to be well balanced. But I'm realizing now that I can take this to any level I want, to the point where I need to start drawing some lines. And I think like part of it too is I need to get to the point where it's like I need to readjust my routines. Like now that it's getting kind of out of control with like things, which is great, bring a lot more success. But then I need to be like, okay, from 9:30 to 10:30 or whatever is my fitness and exercise time, and just stick to it. And I think anybody understands as long as they hear that ahead of time. And I don't think I'll have any contract deadlines that necessarily hit during that time period. And other than that, I can just let all my clients know, like, hey, my phone goes off from 9:30 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. So don't call and leave a message if you want. So that's probably my solution.
You can just text them a picture of yourself shirtless and be like,
That's it.
Do you think this?
Do you think this happens overnight?
Yeah.
I think this.
This literally takes an hour a day, man. That's all.
That's
So,
it.
You need some understanding. Interesting. Cool.
Yeah, and I can definitely tell too. There's the catch-22 of it. So of course, like when I'm flying around doing all this stuff, working around the clock, of course it's stressful. I mean, not necessarily bad stress, but it's stressful. It's a lot of juggling. Working a ton of different things all at once and balancing it. And having a good release, like a nice workout, would be perfect for me right now. It'd take off some of the stress and all that stuff. I'm having a hard time fitting it in, so
All right. All right.
bummer.
Yep. Well, we'll keep abreast of this situation,
Oh,
and I think we should say the word breast a lot more on this podcast. So you get the whole dad fitness or real dad fitness.
sure, that's it. There's a
Uh, Man, so for my fitness week, I officially started my half marathon training program
nice.
last Tuesday, and I've been running pretty regularly, and I did my just like a 3 mile run on Tuesday and Thursday. That went great, and then Sunday I went on my first quote unquote long run, which was only 4 miles. It was the first week, but I did that, and man, I got almost done, and I started having terrible pain in my foot. I was like, what? This is not
Huh.
good. So I don't know what's going on with that. I'm just gonna keep running for a little bit though, and see if it comes back in tomorrow's run, and see what's going on. But
Yeah, do the
hoping I don't get sidelined by injury up in here.
right. That especially right off the gate, that'd be a bummer.
Yeah.
But try try any. I guess I don't like. Was it like bottom of your foot, middle of your foot? What's hurting?
Yeah, it's like near the ball of my foot, towards the but like in the middle of the foot. So
Okay.
I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah, I would do some like like do you know like any yoga stuff? Do you know like downward dog and yoga?
Yep.
Okay. So like yeah, if you do like a downward dog and then take one foot off the ground and kind of put it back like basically on your calf, just to balance and stretch one foot at a time in the downward dog position. I might give yourself like a solid 10 minutes a night or something like that of that stretch, you know what I mean, off and on to each foot. And it'll also stretch out your calf a lot. I would start there really like a full body stretching. Although you've probably just been doing all that for the whole life challenge, so you should be nice and stretched out. But that and drink tons of water. Those two things are like the root of all evils in running
Right.
injuries. You know what I mean? That unbalanced muscles that can a lot of times be corrected by good stretching, and then drink tons of water. That really will help your joints. Of course, not necessarily hitting a joint in your foot, but hey, stay hydrated. So try that. See what happens.
Cool. I will try.
If that doesn't work, go to a doctor.
Indeed. Awesome. Yeah, if I was a little bummed, I was like, I don't want to be sidelined first week of half marathon training.
Right, yeah.
I should get sidelined like last week or something.
Right, yeah, that's when you accidentally push too hard and end up in trouble.
What the heck? So I'm also working, this is kind of unfitness related, but we've been talking about fitness for like 10 minutes. I could bring up a non-fitness related thing. It's man related. It's
Good.
So I'm trying to up my manly quotient a little bit. So it all kind of started. I read this book called Emergency, which is this book is like this New York Times journalist. It's a nonfiction book. He wrote a story about a billionaire, and then he basically became friends with this billionaire and started hanging out with other billionaires and stuff like that. And like he noticed when he was hanging out with these billionaires that like they all had like crazy plans for what they were gonna do, like when society like collapsed or whatever. Like they all had like super like well thought out, like ready to go. Society collapses right now. What are you gonna do, kind of thing. And he was like, man, these are a lot of smart people. Maybe I should like look into this or whatever. So at that point, he kind of went a little bit off the handle and like got super into like survivalist stuff. And he was like a super nerdy, just liberal guy, like never hunted anything like that, and totally got way into survivalness. So it's a pretty interesting book, and I like the book, but it kind of did get me thinking, like, man, there's probably some skills I should master, and I don't want to be like paranoid and say that I think society's going to collapse or anything, but at the same time, there's some life skills that I probably need to work out a little bit just to be a well-rounded person and just to have those skills available to me. So I've got a list, and I'm starting to work on my manly life skills here.
Ooh, let's hear your manly life skills list, because I think I could rattle off a list of things that it's only because it's crossed my mind when watching Doomsday Prepper shows or things like that.
All right.
But I'm like, you know what? I have some certain skills that in an apocalyptic world I would be super valuable. I think, you know what I mean? Like if they came up and killed me, I could be like, wait, I could do this, 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 and this, and they'd probably be like, well, All right, well, we better hang on to this dude.
Right,
So
right.
let's hear your list of manly stuff.
All right. And I did kind of spin off of the Doomsday Prepper stuff. All this stuff would not be necessarily useful in the apocalypse, but I was like, these are things that I should probably know that I do not know how to do, or I think at least things that I think would be fun to know. Like there's some things that would be useful to know that I'm just not interested in. But here's basically my list. So my first thing up is to learn some automotive repair stuff. Like I'm definitely clueless on being able to fix my car. So that's my first step is to basically learn my car well enough that I at least if something goes wrong, I'm able to identify what that is and identify is that something that I could potentially fix myself or is that just something that's out of my league. So that's my first step.
Cool. For all
Um,
you loyal listeners out there that know nothing about cars, changing your brake pads is an easy first step in home automotive maintenance.
nice.
So I would start there, Tyler. Next time you need new brake pads, you can change that yourself, and it's relatively easy. You only need about $60 to $80 in parts, so you can save yourself some money, and you can do it. Okay,
Nice.
moving
I,
on.
I
So
like
there's
I like that. My only concern is that the margin of error on that is bad. Like if you accidentally screw that up, I feel like brakes would be a bad thing to screw up.
yeah, you can do it. Okay,
All right, fair enough.
moving on. Okay,
Fair
automotive
enough.
repair. That's a good one.
All right, my next thing is going to be fly fishing, which granted is like in a survival situation that may not be like the most quickest and best way to gather food or whatever like that. But I just think it would be a cool, fun thing to know. And I live in a very good like fly fishing area. I live like about 3 miles away from this place. That's like a big fly fishing mecca that people come all over for. So I'd like to learn that. Um,
Cool.
so those are my first two that I'm working on basically for this year. And the other thing is and this is totally doomsday prepper stuff, but I'm totally working on putting together my bug out bag, which is like your 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 bag that you get together so you can survive for 72 hours if there's some kind of disaster. So I'm working on
Okay.
that. So I've got a little off the edge with that part of it.
Yeah, that's a little off the edge.
So
But,
there you go.
in my opinion, to a prepper, that's just smart. So,
Yeah, exactly.
uh, yeah,
And
so
then and then
my
and then I want to work
skills,
on
oh,
and then after that I just want to work on some like outdoor survival type skills like camping, trapping, stuff like that.
sure, that stuff's fun anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I
All
was
right,
gonna say, I
go
think
ahead.
my it's in the hole that keeps me alive in post-apocalyptic world is I'm pretty good at brewing beer from scratch from the grains. So I could actually like harvest the grains and end up with a drinkable beer. Uh, I think even without like a real source, I could end up with the yeast that would, I could pull from the air and start a culture and brew beer with that too. So I think from like, throw me out in the middle of the woods, I guess I would need something to actually boil the water in. But yeah, I could actually brew beer in a post-apocalyptic world. So that's got to keep me around right there.
Nice, nice. Yeah,
Right.
and I think if it's a long-term apocalypse, that would definitely come in handy.
Sure,
Like if
short
it's if
term.
it's like a short-term 72-hour disaster, that may not come quite as handy, but
Yeah, I'm pretty wicked with the bow for both
nice.
short and long term.
That's good.
Uh, so yeah, I could definitely hunt, stalk, and kill and prepare animals. So that's a thing. Let's see. Plus, it's a bow. I don't even need. I can reuse those arrows for a long time.
All right.
Let's see what else. I can definitely build a generator from the pieces of any car. You
Nice.
know, pull out the alternator, and you can make a little generator out of that. Let's see. I could pretty much make it pretty good with like making small electrical generators from almost any like tons of stuff like ceiling fans, whatever. And pull the I can make combo stuff. I could pull uh, the motor or out of a ceiling fan, turn it into a generator, and use the transformer from a microwave to make a welder. How do you like them
Nice.
apples? That's
I
not
like
because
it.
I like prep or anything. It's just because I'm dorky and I like doing stuff like taking apart microwaves and seeing what's in them and how they work and electricity and stuff. So those are all fun things to do anyway. All you dads out there, if you're really bored and really want to do a fun science experiment with one of your kids, or just because you want to do something cool, you can look up how to do it on YouTube. There's plenty of videos, but yeah, you can take apart a microwave. Has tons of cool electronics. Has two really nice magnets in it. It'll have, like I said, a little 3,000 volt transformer in there that you can actually use to make high voltage and low amperage, or you can put or you can do it the other way around and end up with really high amperage, so you can weld with it. So fun stuff to do on a weekend if you're bored and want to teach a kid about electricity. Also, if you like seriously hurt yourself doing this, which you could, don't blame me. I take no responsibility.
That's right. Let me just to say that we are not an advice show, and no one should listen to anything we say. And by the way, this covers all the episodes that we did not mention that as well. Right. This is a retroactive disclaimer as well. Should probably be mentioning that every episode.
Probably.
So yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Our friend Andy, who so anyway, that book Emergency that I read, I got I had mixed feelings about it. Like, one of the big things that like all the billionaires say, and that guy got really into, is that you should get a second passport. Like, that's basically the best thing you can do, is to get get a dual citizenship with another country, because preferably another a European Union country, because then you could go basically anywhere in the world, and it's surely not going to be everywhere in the world that there's this problem. So that's a big part of that book, and I definitely had some issues with the book, but I gave the book to our friend Andy, and he's like, I get into stuff, but he definitely gets into stuff like even more than I do. So he is basically, I'm pretty sure that he and I may be taking a survival class this fall in Indiana, like a 3-day outdoor survival class. All right. He's definitely way into it. So,
well, to rewind it a little bit and bring it back on the topic, in case another like clutch element, if you want to survive in the post-apocalyptic world, is to be really fit, because you will be able to, climb buildings or do whatever fitness type. Plus, if it's a zombie apocalypse, cardio is king. Got to be able to outrun a zombie. So there you go.
They did the final thing on this. They did have one awesome thing in the book that he did, where it was like an urban survival class, where they taught you, like, they spent like 2 days teaching you how to like basically escape from like handcuffs and like evade like pursuers in an urban environment and stuff like that. And then the third day, they lock you in a trunk, take you somewhere in the city, you don't know where you are, and then ditch the car, and you have to escape and then evade them for 8 hours. They have like professional people trying to track you down or whatever, and you only pass the class if you like successfully evade them for 8 hours at the end of this thing. So
couldn't you just like hide in a dumpster for 8 hours? I mean, that would be something.
No, you have like tasks you have to do. Like you have to like get pictures of certain stuff.
That would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
All right.
That seemed like it'd be fun.
Sure.
All right. Where to go from here? All right, I got a few articles for us. We want to tackle one of them. Some of these harken back. Like, I'm finding with this fitness podcast that fitness is in the end of the day is pretty simple. Like, we're starting to circle back on some of the same topics that we've previously had. But I think this one's good to revisit. So this is from the Crozet Gazette. Wow, that's an oddly rhyming name for a newspaper. The Crozet Gazette. I don't know where they are. Oh, they're a community paper serving western Alberta-Mole County. Sounds Canadian, but I'm not sure. So the title of this article is "Back to Fitness: Model the Life You Want Your Children to Live." So this article is written by an ultramarathon runner, and basically, we've touched on this topic before, but I thought it was a really good essay. It was basically just saying that, whatever you do, however you live your life, is basically what your kids for their whole life is going to see as the normal life, like whatever you do. So just something to keep in mind, and just another reason to motivate you to live a healthy lifestyle is because that's how what your kids are going to see as normal.
Right. I think that really holds, like, those formative years. There is so much to be said about it, where they see you being healthy, and they're going to be healthy until they get out of the house or whatever. It certainly is. Like, the older I get, and the more I see the way people grew up and all that stuff. Now we're all adults, and people gravitate right toward that comfort zone of what they saw when they were kids and what they experienced when they were kids. No matter what it is, if what they saw when they were kids was horrible, messed up stuff, they tend to gravitate towards horrible, messed up stuff as adults. And so hopefully I'm hoping my kids gravitate towards stuff like fitness. My son actually just did his first business the other day. I was so proud of him. He he wanted a pair of roller skates. A little off topic here, but he wanted a pair of roller skates, and I told him he had to earn them. He had to figure out a way to get money, and so my wife is a very good baker, and so he opened a cupcake stand, and I got to teach him all kinds of stuff with that. He had to pay back all his expenses before he took any profit. So he got to learn about, expenses versus, gross income and net income, and it was really cool. So, and he
Nice.
did earn enough money to buy some roller skates. So I was a little worried because, like, the first hour we only had one customer, and I was like, oh, damn it, he's gonna be in the hole $20 when he finishes this
And that's why
cupcake
you should
stand.
never start a business.
Right, I know. I was like, it's gonna be terrible. He's gonna hate business from now on. But nope, successful, and now he's
Nice.
skating.
Cool.
So
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. All right, that's all I got on that one. Um, all right, so right when you joined the call, when we were about to start here, I was in the midst of reading this article, which is very scientific, and I was trying to wrap my head around the specifics of the science behind this article. And then I stopped reading it because you joined. So I'm not sure that I got all the science down on this one, but it goes along with another topic that we've talked about quite a bit, and we've talked a lot about the high intensity interval training, and we've talked about your idea of doing it 1% harder each time and all that stuff. So this article comes from the New York Times, and it's called "For Fitness, Push Yourself." Basically, what it says is intense exercise changes the body and muscles at a molecular level in ways that milder physical activity doesn't match, according to a new study. The study was conducted in mice, but the findings add to the growing scientific evidence that to realize the greatest benefit from workouts, we probably need to push ourselves hard. So again, I did not read all the science behind this, but that's the gist of it. There was a study with mice, and they found they could tell at the molecular level which mice had been pushed harder than other mice who had been pushed less hard for longer periods of time, basically.
Sure, I'd say that is like, you don't even need to really understand the science behind it, and you can see it clear as day. Because, like, take an example of, like, somebody that does lawn maintenance, landscaping. There's a guy that is on his feet, outdoors, working, moving around, exercising, getting exercise all day long, 8-10 hours a day, pushing a lawnmower, picking up whatever irrigation systems, moving them and digging trenches and stuff like that all day long, 8-10 hours a day. You take that guy and stand him next to a dude that is, a businessman. He sits at his desk 8 hours a day and does nothing. Types on a computer 8 hours a day. Works out 5 days a week for 1 hour. So over the course of the week, he only gets 5 real hours of exercise, versus the dude that's getting 40 hours a week of true exercise. His 40 hours are really low impact, low intense. There's a good chance that dude is somewhat out of shape. You know what I mean? Like, you'd look at him with the shirt off and he wouldn't be toned or whatever, or maybe he'd be mildly toned, but a good chance he's got a tummy on him or whatever, and just a regular landscaping dude. Mr. Office guy that only works out 5 hours a week could be really ripped and look really, and have bigger muscles and better lungs and all that stuff. So I mean, right there is the prime example of, you need to push yourself, or you need to push your body to have it improve. It's not just a matter of, not that there's any bad exercise, but if you want to actually see some results and change your body at that molecular level, I mean, your tissue is actually growing. Your lungs and cardiovascular system are actually changing, but you got to take it to that point where it's difficult, and then try and see how long you maintain or go past that difficult level, without actually injuring yourself. And the more you do that, the better your results will always be. That's why CrossFitters have such crazy, a lot of CrossFit people have really good results, because every exercise, they do a great job of your gamification, where they're saying, they put numbers and goals together and boards, and were you the best of your category for the workout for the day? You can look back and see that stuff, and so it's all ways to make you push yourself harder and to go more intense. and that's where you're going to see your results. It's the because I've known tons of people, and this just drives me crazy. They're like, "Oh, I work out 6 days a week and nothing ever happens," but they work out at the gym where it's like they stand around, look at all the machines, and they go to lift weights for where it's not difficult at all for a little bit. They walk on a treadmill for a little bit, and it's like, yeah, no, you're never going to see results doing that. It's all about that, finding that level you're at and trying to push yourself a little past it.
Nice. I like your analogy of the long guy. But they didn't even need to do this study. They should have been like, science.
Yeah, she just asked me. Yeah, done. The science has been tested 1 million times over, all around you. So open your eyes and look at the world. Boom, done. Save yourself some money, New York Times.
Yeah. The good news from the study is that intensity is a completely relative concept. So it isn't like you have to push yourself a certain amount of hardness. It's basically just that you have to push yourself outside your comfort zone. So if you're out of shape, an intense workout might be a brisk walk around the block. So it's all just about pushing yourself outside your comfort zone.
Right.
So
right.
That's good
that
news
brings us right back to my sure. That's like I said. That brings me right back to my 1% theory of working out. You know what I mean? If you're working out trying to improve by 1%, it doesn't matter what that improvement is. If you're He-Man out there and you're still just trying to get it from 650 to 655. And if it's the first day you've ever benched, well, I guess you need a benchmark. But then after that, just try and get those little improvements every time. That's how you'll push yourself, But
I recommend 1 pound if you've never done it before, because that'd be.
Yeah.
Then you can go for
that makes it easy to have some great gains.
Yeah, totally. All right, last article I have for us is as well as I do that the kind of like the obstacle runs and stuff like that are popular, the mud runs kind of stuff. So there's a new trend in seems to be in the New York City area, but probably other places too, that there's more obstacle fitness training centers popping up around the area. So you're you want to get ready for your Tough Mudder or whatever like that, and you've never done these obstacles before. You can go to these places and they'll basically do you can go there for 3 times a week and they'll basically run you through these obstacles and work you out on the same type of obstacles that you'll be doing. The guy that they interview in this who started a chain of a few of these places, he says you can crawl under barbed wire without practice. He said, referring to one common obstacle, but most people can't climb a rope without learning some tricks and techniques on an actual rope, stuff like that. So it's all about people love the obstacles. It's all about making that part of your daily routine. How do you feel about this new trend? Would you go to this type of place?
Oh, totally. I think that would be a total blast. I mean, I don't know if I would get like a monthly membership and go 3 times a week there, but certainly would be super fun to go all those obstacles are totally fun and a good workout too. So yeah, that'd be great to how fast can I do all the obstacles in this place? Climb the rope, do the rings, do whatever, climb the wall, scale the wall, jump down. That stuff's fun. So yeah, I would totally recommend going to a place like that. I'd do it if they had them around me. And then plus, yeah, it'd be great training if you were training for a mud run. Yeah.
The only thing is, I don't like that if I'm in the mud run. Like, part of the fun of that is like everybody's testing themselves to see like, oh, here's this crazy stuff that we've never done before. Let's see how I can do this stuff. I don't like the idea that there's a guy there who's been doing literally these obstacles 3 days a week. Screw that guy. But I agree, it would be a fun workout to join. And in fact, after I read this article, I Googled if there were any around me, but I found some parkour workout places, but no obstacle places.
Yeah, no, parkour I think would be really fun to try. I've never done it before, except I don't know. I think I'm so old that like as soon as I wiped out the first time in parkour, like smashed my face on the ground, I'd be done with it. I'd be like, this was stupid. I'm too old for this.
When you broke your hip, you'd be like, oh, this sucks.
It broke your jaw, man. And those guys, like, especially because starting off, obviously you're gonna suck at it. I don't know. I think you could wipe out pretty good there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I assume they don't have you jumping off buildings or anything the first day, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. See, I think I'm too dumb and too much of a danger to myself to go into a parkour training facility because I'd be like, oh yeah, of course I could jump from, yeah, but it's a 15-foot gap, sure, yeah, but I'm gonna bounce off that wall, no problem. I just jump with my foot there, and then I try and be like, oh, I broke my jaw. This is horrible.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, that's all I got for this week. You got
So,
anything else?
no, I think that's good. Gotta get back to work like a sucker.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we will leave you there. Head over to realdeadfitness.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us reviews. Whatever. Basically, dedicate at least 20 hours this week to doing different stuff related to our podcast. Subscribing to us in every different venue
Yeah,
possible.
I
That'd be
think
great.
everyone would agree their life will be better if they just have a little more real dad fitness in it. So,
Agreed. Agreed. All right. We will talk to you next time. This is PT. I got to run.
all right, stay real, stay fit, dads. Talk to you next week.